Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick Kosh. We are down here at the Palace Theater here in Waterbury, Connecticut. Shortly, there will be a grand opening here on November 12th, 2004. Right now, we have here Nick Kosh and Steve Mandera from Sky Cable. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick Kosh, and welcome to Waterbury, Connecticut. We are here in the Palace Theater, Waterbury renovated Palace Theater 2004. And who I have here with me is the president of Sky Cable, Steve Mandera. Steve, how are you?
Pretty good, Nick. Pretty good. Boy, I remember, 2.5, 3 years ago when you first started taping down here at the Palace Theater. The back wall was coming down, and there was ruins and the chairs and everything. And it's so remarkable coming here today and seeing the transformation of this theater. I mean, it's like a phoenix. I mean, what it was, then what it went down to, and what it's come back up is twice as good.
It's unbelievable, Steve. Shortly, we're going to be touring through the palace, and I'm going to be introducing Frank Trevera, and my wife, Karen Koshia, is going to be doing some of the interviews there today with
excellent.
Frank.
Excellent.
So this is a new thing for my wife, and it's a premiere showing. I've done 6,000 shows, but this one show she's going to do is going to be number one.
Well, the thing is, I think Karen has seen enough of your shows, and she knows your work, and I think that she'll just follow in your footsteps and continue on. And this will be good. Now you'll be able to sit down behind the camera and have her do all the hard work.
Right. She said she's not sure she ever wants to do this again. But I said, well, you got to try it. So she's trying it.
Right.
But Steve, why don't you tell the viewing audience a little about yourself and what we're going to be doing to help marketing the Palace?
Well, a lot of the things is actually Nick started, like I mentioned, 2-3 years ago, is something that he believed in. He believed in Waterbury, his hometown, believed in downtown and what it could be, and was out here, I mean, in the snow, in the sleet, in the rain. I never forget the footage that he showed me from the behind the theater and everything, and disrepair that it was in, the chairs and everything. And it's remarkable that you stuck with this thing for at least the last 3.5 years, and now you're showing us the end result, which is fantastic. It really is, Nick.
And we've been fortunate enough to be invited in here to show our premiere showing, number one, coming in to show people into Waterbury and the surrounding towns that can't get out and see how beautiful it is in here. Because some people may never be able to get in here and enjoy this, but we're going to bring it to them on cable access television as much as we can get in here and show the people that can't get in here.
And that's what community access is about. A lot of the Channel 3, Channel 8, you get little sound bites or you get 30 seconds. That's one thing with Nick, is you're going to get 2 hours of broadcast that will show you the whole story. It will show you the whole picture. And you know from his reporting, you know from his past shows, he doesn't skimp on words, he doesn't skimp on airtime. He gives you the full story, and this is going to be the full story again about the Palace Theater. And I really think it's like the Phoenix. It's resurrected into a beautiful, beautiful facility with the marble and the brass and the copper and you know, it's just fantastic. You just can't wait to see what's going on.
Tony Bennett says he left his heart in San Francisco. Nick Kosh will leave his heart in Waterbury, Connecticut.
If I know anything about you, Nick, that's very true. Yes, your heart is in Waterbury, Connecticut. That's very true.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Shortly, we're going to have on my wife, Karen Koshia, and Frank Trevera, the Executive Director of the Palace. Thank you.
Hi, Frank. How are you? Good to see you too. We're here at the Palace Theater, and I gotta start it all over. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Karen Koshia, and it's very exciting to be here. Oh. I'm talking to the audience, no? Yeah, I am. Let me tell you what I have to say first, so you'll know. Okay? This is how I was going to start out. I was going to welcome the people, introduce myself, and tell them why I was here. I would like to introduce introduce Frank Tavera.
Okay, Tavera, good.
Tavera.
Tavera, yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Karen Kausha, and I'm here today on this momentous occasion of the sneak preview of the Palace Theater. I would like to introduce Frank Tavera, who is the executive director of the Palace Theater.
How are you?
I'm fine.
What do you think?
So nice to have you here. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we're happy. We couldn't be happier with the way it's turned out.
We have seen such a transformation. We were able to come in on the ground floor when it was in the process of being renovated.
Yep.
And we've seen the different stages it's gone through, and this is spectacular, the outcome.
And now we're 48 days away from our opening, November 12th. We open the doors again for the first time in almost 18 years. So 48 days away, they've done an amazing job cleaning the building, preparing it, the architectural details, phenomenal. We couldn't be happier with the turnout. It's exciting.
Well, everyone in Waterbury has been anxiously awaiting.
I know. I get the phone calls.
All right, I'd like to have you give us a little information and share with us a few of the main features of the facility.
Well, the exciting part about the project for the theater itself was that $30 million was invested into it. It's a restoration, it's a renovation, and it's an expansion, which is the most exciting news for us because we physically have restored this building to some incredible beauty. Its original 1922 architectural detail has all been fully restored. It's pretty glamorous of a space when you look at it. But the good news is that we've also expanded it. We have the largest stage house in the state of Connecticut. We have a 5,000 square foot stage house, 50 feet by 100 feet wide. So we can accommodate any show that goes out on the road today. Unlike its history in the past, when it was a movie theater and you had the screen that dropped, we can bring in the largest productions, the largest dancing shows. Full-scale operas can be presented on our stage. So the expansion of this facility is amazing. We've also added some great restrooms, which is always important. People need to use those. We've added great lobby spaces, which we'll walk through later, the orchestra lobby. We have a mezzanine bar lobby and some private reception rooms as well. So it's a great restoration, a great renovation because we've made some changes, but the expansion part is the best part because it makes us a competitor in the state of Connecticut. We couldn't be happier.
That's great. Now, for the grand opening, Tony Bennett will be performing.
Absolutely.
Isn't
We
that
got lucky. We
wonderful?
got real lucky. He closed the theater in 1987, July 6th, I believe, 1987. And one of the first things I did when I came on board was find out who closed it. And when I found out it was Tony Bennett, I said, who better to come and reopen our theater to celebrate the fact that our past, it's been 18 years, but a lot has changed. Tony Bennett still singing fantastic, such a classic crooner, we'll say. And this building is a classic theater itself. So when we found that out, I thought, we're going to work long and hard to get him. Couldn't be luckier. I mean, the fact that he was available, the fact that he chose to do this date, he's very limited on his dates that he does. So having him open our theater November 12th, huge coup for the area. It couldn't be more exciting, and people are coming out in droves to support this. So we're happy. We're real happy about that.
Very nostalgic,
yeah.
isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, I want you to know that something very near and dear to my heart is the Broadway series. Now, I noticed on the program that there's a variety of programs for people to choose from, Broadway shows. Now, could you tell us what you've lined up for the season?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that we've done for the first season was actually put a list of programming together that we think appeals to a wide variety of audiences. We wanted everyone to feel comfortable coming into the theater, whether to see Tony Bennett, to see a Broadway show, to see an opera, which we'll talk about as well. But on our Broadway series, we put an interesting mix together, a mix of classic titles that appeal to young and old. We have Lord of the Dance, which is that classic Irish step dancing phenomenon, the offshoot of Riverdance. We have that opening up the weekend after Tony Bennett opens, so November 19th, Lord of the Dance will be in the building. We selected Jesus Christ Superstar. Great old musical. People know the songs. They remember the music. If they've seen the movie, if they've seen the Broadway show originally, that will be performing in January. Fiddler on the Roof. I mean, I always go back to the fact that it's traditions. Everyone loves that song. Great opening. Fantastic music. We went with the classics that people could resonate to, that people in the area who have seen theater know the titles, can enjoy it. We've added Chicago, a little bit more contemporary of a piece. That show has been out on the road for almost 6 years at this point, still selling out to packed houses because it's It's current, it's fun, it's a little bit racy, but it appeals to so many. The music is great. And the recent movie that they put out, for those of people who had seen it, has helped really revitalize that title. So Chicago's on our list, as well as Smokey Joe's Cafe. Great 50s, 60s revival. That music that you just want to sit, tap your feet, actually even hopefully get up in the aisle and dance, if the ushers don't tell you to stop, that is. So it's exciting, great lineup, really diverse, hopefully appeals to a wide variety of audiences, and hopefully brings people downtown. We couldn't be happier with the selection and how lucky we were to get those titles. So it's all good so far.
That's excellent. Now, in today's paper, there was an excellent article on the Palace Theater. Now, could you tell us who will be the celebrities that will be performing?
Sure. I mean, I mentioned the diverse menu. We wanted to appeal to audiences young and old. When you look, again, go back to Tony Bennett, he's going to appeal to a variety of ages because he transcends kind of time at this point. We're bringing in B.B. King in December. We have the Tops and the Temptations, bringing back the old kind of classic rock and roll, Motown music will be performing on our stage. We have the Irish Tenors. Actually, the Tuesday after we open our doors, the Irish Tenors will be performing here, doing their new album, or CD today, called Sacred. So it's their new debut of their CD, which is exciting because it's a new release. They have a new tenor on board, so they'll be performing here as well. Bill Cosby will be gracing our stage, which is fantastic, and that's in May. And I know I'm not going in chronological order, but Tim Conway and Harvey Corman, the old sketch comedy from the Carol Burnett show, both of them are back together again. I remember watching that as a child, laughing on a Saturday evening from 10 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday night, watching those shows, and can't wait to see Tim Conway, Harvey Corman kind of do their old comedy skits together again on our stage. So we have an interesting mix of comedy. We have some opera. We have Madama Butterfly coming into our building. Broadway shows. We have we're working with the Waterbury Symphony to present John Pizzarelli. They'll be presenting it on our stage. Family performances. The Nutcracker will be on our stage. We have a Christmas Carol, the musical, taking place. So we've done holiday, family, children programming, a whole host of events that I don't think anyone can open up the brochure and not find something that they're really interested in. So our inaugural season, I think, is a great reference to what kind of shows we have in store for today and the future and beyond.
Well, I know in looking through the program, it was a very diverse schedule, so I know that there's a little something for everyone.
By design.
Yes.
We want to make this theater something for the community. Community funds went into this. I mean, it is, as we know, state funded. We want this to appeal to everyone early on. The risk we would run would be to not invite people in, not make them feel welcome and comfortable. This is a fantastic space. They should walk in here, they should feel like it's their own, and then when we have presentations that appeal to them, they should feel comfortable enough to call our box office, to come in and say, I want to go see a show at the Palace, because the theater's fantastic, but the entertainment's even better. So
That's great. It's something that we're all looking forward to. Now, the seating capacity, how many people does the theater hold?
Actually, we originally were around 3,200 seats, and that's actually part of the renovation process that we've gone through. We've decreased our capacity to about just over 2,600 seats. When we look at our theater capacity in relation to other theaters in the state, we're actually the second largest in the form of a performing arts center. The Bushel in Hartford has roughly about 2,800 seats. We're at 2,640 approximately. The Schubert New Haven's a little bit smaller, as the Warner is a little bit smaller as well. So we have a good-sized venue, perfect capacity for the types of presentations we're bringing in. And I will tell you, I will brag about the fact that our sight lines are fantastic. There's not a bad seat in the house. I know everyone says that, but there's not a bad seat in the house. What they call the rake facing the stage is a nice pitch. You'll have very little head interference. The view of the performance is going to be great for anybody sitting in this theater. It's amazing. People are going to be surprised that they'll be in the back row and still be able to see the whole show.
That's important. There won't be any bad seats.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's easier to sell them that way. So.
Now, I remember as a young person coming to the theater and being very impressed, even at that age, of the acoustics in this theater.
It is still acoustically sound. We will be doing acoustical testing in the next 2 weeks, as we're just nearing completion here. So we'll have an acoustician, as they're called, come in, testing the facility, making sure that all the sound, whether it is going to be amplified or not to get technical, is going to be in its perfect form. Ideally, I should be able to sit in the last row of the theater and have one person on the stage and say, "Hey Frank, how are you?" I should be able to hear them without any amplification.
Like it's directed right to me.
Exactly. That is the true test of an acoustically sound building. We'll be doing that, but by all counts, they built this building originally and it's redesigned to be acoustically sound. So when you come in for one of the concerts, whether it's Lone Star, which is country music, or whether you come in to see, again, the Irish tenors, you'll have a great experience because the sound is what's important. A great seat, good sound, and a good show in a beautiful building. You can't beat
What
that
more
one.
can you
You
ask,
can't
right?
beat that at all. So.
Now, tell me a little bit about that fantastic organ.
Well, unfortunately, the fantastic organ is the beautiful decorative pipes.
It's not operational.
No. Thomas Lamb, the
Okay.
architect, the architect who built the building in 1922, always included decorative pipes in this facility. So you walk in there and you see these great grand
Yes.
pipes in the building. Unfortunately, they were never functioning. They were only for decoration purposes only. There was a house organ in here at one time, which through deterioration, et cetera, was not replaced, and it makes some financial sense not to. But the decorative feel that you get is very grand. It's beautiful. It's a Thomas Lamb kind of signature look within his building. So people have that impression that
It's
the organ was
impressive.
there. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Now, what about the orchestra pit?
The orchestra pit is new. We actually have an orchestra pit, which is actually something we can brag about today. In its original day, when you remember, as a movie theater, movies would play, whether they were silent or whatever, with accompaniment, but the musicians would be in the front seats. They would have the best seats in the theater.
Yes.
Today, we actually put them in what's called the pit. We have a pit that can accommodate up to 58 musicians, which is huge. When we do Madama Butterfly, we will have up to 50 more musicians in that orchestra pit, giving them a place to perform where they should be, and not because they should be below stage, but the sound is better when it's captured and then it gets sent out when they're in that pit area. So it's fantastic to have that. It makes us a competitive venue now because we can do Broadway shows, we can do full-scale operas, or ballets for that matter, because if we had not added the orchestra pit, we wouldn't be able to get those types of performances. So
Really
it's
opens the way, then,
part
doesn't it?
of the renovation process, which was really smart, the way they designed the building.
That's great. Now, there are some other specifics that I think our listeners would like to hear about. And I'd like to know, first of all, if someone who's disabled and they wanted to come to the show, are you set up for that?
Absolutely. One of the changes, the dramatic changes to the building, is that we are fully ADA compliant. We have seating in our orchestra level, not only for individuals in wheelchairs, and we have made room for their companions as well, but we actually have seats with removable arm rests, so that if someone is in a walker situation, has brace, or just has difficulty moving in and out, we can actually make room for those individuals in the theater, so they can ask for those by design. We also have an elevator access, which will get them to one place to the other, as well as ramps to support that. So if they're in a wheelchair or if they can't take steps, they can actually get to their locations easily. Part of the restoration process almost required us to become ADA compliant, and we will be offering all those locations, as well as offering interpreted performances for the deaf.
Whoa,
certain
that's
performances
excellent.
will be offered for the deaf community as well, because it's important to expand the art to all.
Yes.
So we are fully ADA compliant.
Now, what about the parking?
Parking. Good news. Always good news about parking. Always the first question asked. You can sell a ticket.
You tell us what the seating capacity is now. Where do we put our cars?
Okay, exactly. And that's even when I was in my previous job in Hartford, first question was, can I get parking? Then I want to buy a ticket, because it's the biggest
Right.
issue out there. As part of the design, as part of the whole economic revitalization of this downtown area, an 880-space parking garage was built directly behind our theater. This parking garage will sit 880 spaces. We will actually manage the inventory of those spaces for performance evening. So patrons calling up and buying a ticket to see Tony Bennett will
Right.
also be asked if they want to buy a parking pass. So we can reserve a location for them in the parking garage. So we have 880 spaces across the street. We have 200 some odd spaces across our street, at Yukon, in their location, and then some locations right on the street as well.
Okay,
If
so
you-
Yukon will be opened up for parking. That's excellent.
We're working that out with them as well. So ideally, we'll have over 1,100 spots open for parking for performance night. Industry average is 2.3 people per car. You do the quick math.
Right.
We're about 2,500 patrons attending the performance have a place to park. So parking has been made convenient. We will be providing security, police on the street. The visibility of the police on the street has been tremendous. We will be providing our own security services as well to monitor the parking garage, to monitor the courtyard outside by the school, so that people walking back and forth will feel comfortable. They'll see a visual sign that there is somebody there to help them in case something comes up. So with security, with parking, a great venue, and some classy entertainment, again, we can't ask for much more. So great idea to include the parking behind us.
We came by here, Frank, one evening, and we saw the Palace Theater lit up. What a pretty sight.
Well, it's been a pretty sight because it's been the longest awaited site in decades
We've
at this point.
anticipated it a
Absolutely.
long time.
Yeah. Some of the smart things that were done as well is on the front side of the building, they have actually a reception room. It's a suite of sorts. We're calling it the Poli Club. Sylvester Poli was a builder,
Okay.
kind of take off on the Polo Club, but the Poli Club. So private receptions can be put in that room. But the interesting thing is that it's open to 2 floors. It's actually doubles, there's double windows in there, fantastic lighting. So when we have events in that building, in that room, although there'll be something taking place on our stage, we'll have lights on there, so it brings energy to East Main Street. You have the energy of the library from UConn now.
Yes.
We have a new coffee shop downtown.
Right.
The Arts Magnet School creates activity. The more light, the more people, the more activity, the safer people feel.
Correct.
And hopefully that turns into a positive economic spin for downtown and the greater Waterbury area. So it's all part of the big plan.
Yes, we're hoping that come to fruition. Now, let me ask you about tours. Do you have any tours available to the public?
Tours will be made available to the public on a, we'll say on a reservation basis. At this point right now, we are still a construction site. We still have work to do in this building. We're kind of limited the number of people to come into the building. But when we open the doors, when we finally get our certificate of occupancy and go into full operation, we will do scheduled tours on occasion, but we will also do tours by reservations. So social groups, service clubs who are interested in doing a tour. Stop.
Are you getting us on the mic? Is that
We can edit that out, right?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Okay, just wait 1 second, because are the lights going to go dim? Are you going to notice that? Because you notice how the lights go dim? Wait till the strobe ends.
Oh, okay.
And do you want us to move at any point? Do you want us to move at any point?
Okay. I have just 2 more things to ask Frank about, and then I'm going to say, come join us while we take a tour, and then we'll. Okay. Yeah, I see the lights.
Yeah,
how
so
they.
the dim lights go. You're going to have to.
Okay. Frank, can you tell me if there are any tours available to the public?
Well, I will tell you, we're going to be happy to brag about our building, show it off a little bit, of course. Right now, there are none just because it's still a construction site. We've actually limited the access because workers are trying to finish everything up. But once we open our doors after November 12th, we will have tours either by reservation, so people in groups can call up and say, I'd love to have a group tour come in for my social organization, for a school. We'd be happy to bring them in. And then we will be actually scheduling tours a couple times a week with docents in the building as well to give a nice guided tour and open to the public. We want to be able to boast about this. We want to be able to show it off.
Yes, we want everyone to see it.
Absolutely. And the best way to see it at this point is going to be able to kind of come in, visualize what this looked like ages ago, see what it looks like today, and then come join us for a performance. Of course, that's a big plan. So.
Sounds great. Now, what about the ticketing options?
Ticketing options are vast. Of course, single tickets are available to all of our presentations. As well as single tickets, we have subscriber options for our Broadway series. So you can guarantee yourself the exact same seat for all our presentations on our Broadway series by becoming a subscriber. You can buy all 5 shows at an affordable ticket price. So that you can actually see each presentation but know where you're going to sit every time. And of course, group tickets will be available, so groups of 20 or more can purchase tickets at a discounted rate, get premier seating, as well as some privileges that go along with that. So we're making ourselves available to so many different, in so many different ways, to the individual who wants to just see one show, to who loves Broadway show and buy the whole package, or groups who want to kind of make an outing of this. So it's important to offer those options.
Now, do you have the number for the box office?
Absolutely. The box office goes live. We sell tickets live to the general public on Monday, September 27th. Box office number is 203-755-4700, and operators are standing by, I'll say.
Okay. Well, I think that we've covered the majority of the headings here in this beautiful, beautiful pamphlet. And I think that right now we can ask you to come and join us while we take a tour of the beautiful Palace Theater.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Well, Frank, we've just come up the grand foyer. Now tell us a little bit about the area we're standing in.
Well, right now we're actually in the mezzanine bar lobby area. It's actually the receiving area for individuals attending performances and entering into the mezzanine level. But this is also a new area where we've added a bar here, as we need to provide a beverage service during performances. It's a great gathering space. People before the show will be here, be able to congregate. During intermission, they'll be able to congregate. So it's a beautiful facility. It looks over the orchestra bar lobby right below us. This fantastic chandelier that's in the building. The appointments in here are beautiful. As you can tell, it's not fully completed. There'll be more accompaniments in the building as we move forward, but great space, fantastic lighting in here. The sconces are really kind of glamorous. We couldn't be happier with the way it looks. It's pretty classy.
Now, there's a bar area as well,
Absolutely.
as you mentioned, and the chandelier. Could you tell me, is this original?
It's not original. It is actually a very close replica of the original. I mean,
It really is.
They took the designs from the original one. They took the old photographs as well as the architectural detail, and they mimicked it. They've added a little bit to it. I believe the sizing is almost identical, except some of the features are a little bit different. It still kind of brings you back to that classic.
Tell us a little bit about the chandelier that we're looking at.
Well, it's not original, unfortunately, but it is a replica of the original. The size, the proportion, the detail has changed a little bit, but ultimately, as it looked originally back in 1922, it's very, very similar. The restoration firm found drawings of the original chandelier that was in the building, had taken photographs before the old ones were dismantled, and had a firm come back and restore them. It brings you back to the 1920s when this type of chandelier was very common in the facility. In our grand foyer, which we were just earlier in, there's 3 of these beautiful chandeliers as well. Pretty glamorous space. I keep on saying the word glamorous, but that's what it is. It's a glamorous space.
Are they each individually different?
They are actually the 4 that are in the building are all the same. Same in size, same in proportion. Very, there's a lot of continuity with that. I think that was done by design too, just so that it gives you a really kind of consistent look throughout the building. As you'll notice with the lighting sconces on the wall, I mean, they're very rich. Those are not original. Those sconces were a little bit different in its original configuration, but they're very dressy, and they've kind of kept that look throughout the whole building.
Yes, it blends nicely with the whole atmosphere. Now tell me a little bit about this beautiful,
domed ceiling?
This domed ceiling, but is this gold leaf and silver leaf and copper leaf?
Gold, silver, and bronze, actually.
Bronze.
And bronze. And the interesting part about the ceiling itself is the fact that the gold leafing is done in 2 different formats. There's either there's actually gold leafing that comes in long-term sheets, which they rub on as they're going throughout the building, or there's gold leafing that actually comes in 5x5 squares. If you look up closely, you can actually see there's a mosaic pattern that takes place in the dome itself that was done by skilled artisans, craftsmen who still exist today, who have the ability to take that type of material. It's almost like tissue paper.
Yes.
Going on, applying it and give it that rich golden look, a little burnished look within here. So it's amazing that they were able to do that and replicate that. So gold leafing, a little bit of silver, a little bit of bronze, all the alloys are represented.
How meticulous.
Absolutely.
The design is just absolutely gorgeous. Now, is that kept to the original design?
All the pieces in here, all the architectural relief that we end up seeing in this building is original. The color palette is different, so they've actually enhanced the colors, used different colors to accentuate the plaster relief, but all of it is the original mold, original models, and actually it was done really to replicate the original facility. And the interesting part is this ceiling was 90% ruined. They had to take all of the ceiling
remember
up
that,
and make the molds on site, replace them with their original forms that they had taken, but replace them, remount them, reapply them, re-gild them, repaint them. And when you walk in here, it's seamless. You would never know what was missing, what was new.
know.
And again, Conrad Schmidt, which is the firm who did the restoration, the skilled artistry that goes along with that is phenomenal.
I noticed that they have the Greek design border all along.
This building is an interesting mix of Greek, Arabic, Roman, and actually federal. And if you look down, you can see the American eagle,
Yes.
the Americana
Yes.
aspect of it. It was an interesting mix of motifs, and it was done specifically by design because Thomas Lamb, the architect of the building, wanted this building to appeal to any and all people. So by mixing up the Greek, the
So
Roman
diverse.
influence, the Egyptian actually influence, as well as the federal, he brought everybody in who had a little sense of themselves in here. It appealed to all. It was a theater that was built for the community, and by making it look like this, it actually welcomed everyone in.
That's quite unique.
Absolutely, back in 1922, they took the time to think about that. And today, you can't build a building of this stature, of this proportion, without an incredible amount of money. $30 million you wouldn't be able to buy, even come close to buying a building of this size for that amount of money.
And the fact that you could get the artisans to do the work.
Those skilled artisans
Yes.
still exist. It's
Yes.
amazing. You think it's a dying craft, and it is to a degree because the volume of work doesn't exist. But the people who know how to do it, the artistry behind it, the people who learned the legacy of this, it's pretty amazing.
It's nice that it's been passed down from generation to generation.
Absolutely, and we're lucky, and now in 2004, to be able to get this building once again.
How many workers were there involved?
At one point, there was over 300 workers in this building, from the electricians, from the painters, the plasterers, from the people working on a sprinkler system, over 300 individuals working. Right now, we're nearing it down right to the end, where there's probably a handful cleaning their way up and getting out of the building. So I think maybe we should walk into the new theater.
I would like to see it. Frank, this is absolutely spectacular. Your eyes don't know where they want to focus first.
No, absolutely. We're actually proud of our little theater here. It's amazing. I mean, the detail, the level of detail, the artistry, as we talked about before, it's amazing. We're sitting up here in what we call the loge area, which is the front portion of the mezzanine. The mezzanine, we have one large mezzanine that flows behind us, but these seats right here in the loge are fantastic seats to sit and view the performance, but also to view the art, the decorative nature of the building. The organ pipes that we talked about are fantastic, as we mentioned, and those two are highlighted in gold and silver and bronze. I mean, the proscenium opening, which is actually, the large area that surrounds the opening of this space, although the house curtain hasn't been installed yet, which people will be blown away at the design on the house curtain. The proscenium opening is fabulous. When you look at the center marquee, that metal that actually takes place in the center, that is actually as we understand it, the muse of literature. That's located in there. So, I mean, the detail in here, you can't help but be astounded, like the artistry, and then hopefully you'll be watching the performance as well when you're in the building.
It's awesome. I mean, when you come in, if you come a little early, there's certainly much to scope out.
No, it's
breathtaking.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right, Karen. Okay, we got to stop there for a second.
All right.
Where are we
Okay.
going?
Now, what did you want to? When are they putting the rest of the stage together?
Actually, that's the stage.
Is
It's
that
all
the
in.
stage
So
floor?
yeah, actually
That's
the stage floor is in. That's actually part of the orchestra pit. But are you going to be viewing any of that? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
We kind
Do
of
you
make.
want us to talk about, or you don't need us to talk about that?
Go ahead. Well, in looking below, Karen, as we were talking about the orchestra pit, you can notice that that's actually the location where those 50-plus musicians will be seated in. So they'll be performing below stage, and so people will be able to have a great view of the performance, musicians happening below, and the staging right in front of them. For performances like Tony Bennett, where there's musicians on stage, that actually area will become seating. So people will be able to sit right to the edge of that apron that you see right there, be able to be up close and personal with Tony Bennett, with B.B. King, and all those artists. So you have the ability to be as close as you can be, or sit a little bit further back when you have those Broadway-style shows. So
they're able to put seating there as well.
Yep. Interestingly enough,
Not a space that's left unused.
Absolutely. There is a hydraulic lift that goes in within that area that comes up to the stage level, so we can
I
actually
see.
have the stage extend out further if the artist wanted to perform closer to the audience, or we can put a platform there and actually put seats there. So it gives us
Nice option.
It gives us great flexibility in this building again. So, and I mean, where we're sitting right now, as I mentioned, the loge, we have the great opera boxes. Drapery will be included in all of those bays. Again, very warm feeling, very classic old opera house feel. The restoration work, the design, the warmth in this building. I mean, people, I keep on saying, will be in shock and in awe when they walk in here for the first time.
Kind of brings you back to the old movies, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a little bit younger than that, so yeah. So I don't
Well, I'm
remember
telling my
I don't-
age then, am
I
I?
don't remember those movies. So.
Well, I just rent them and watch
Yeah,
them.
I've heard about them. But no, it is. I mean, we're excited. One of the things I didn't mention is that we are going to be putting on some classic films on stage in the theater. We want to be able to celebrate the past. We want to be able to celebrate the rich history. Unfortunately, the projection booth, which came with the theater originally, or was in the theater, doesn't exist anymore, and the equipment is a little antiquated. So we will be doing classic films, projecting it in a different light. But it'd be great to sit here and see, A Gone with the Wind. We were looking at titles, fun family titles like Mary Poppins, to put it on this stage, have a family, children, parents come in, sit down in a theater like this to see a movie. I mean, when you go to other cinemas today,
Yes.
you don't get this
There's
kind of
nothing like
experience.
this. No, there's
So-
nothing like this.
And for our grand opening on November 12th, what we are referring to as Community Day, we're going to offer a 25-cent movie, because to celebrate its history. So 25 cents, you don't buy much for 25 cents. We'll charge you $20 for the popcorn, but that's between you and I. We have to make our money somewhere. So
Now, do you have a children's series as well?
absolutely, children's series will be taking place during the day for school-based performances. What we've done is we've put together a series that highlights books that young children will be reading, whether they're pre-K or third graders or junior high school students, highlighting some of those books. I have a 3-year-old daughter, so books like Guess How Much I Love You, which is a book that my daughter and I and my wife have read to her for ages at this point. Alexander, Who's Not Going to Move. He's a little character he's a character. His books out there, so they're actually adaptations of those books. They present them on the stage.
They'll come to life for them.
We present them to school-based children at an affordable price in groups so that the teachers can bring them for a field trip here in the theater. The exciting part for us is not to get them to sit here and and see a performance as much, but to get them into the theater, to experience them into live
Yes.
performance, to have them walk in here and with their jaws that kind of drop and say, wow, look at a place like this. Because many of these children, at least in the greater Waterbury area, have never been in this place. It's been closed for 18 years. Some of these kids are only 5 or 6 years old. They've never seen or heard about it. Well, they've heard about it, but never walked in to see it.
That's the time to expose young children
Absolutely.
when they're young.
And so we want to get the young, we want to get the old. We think our scheduled performances offer an opportunity for any and all to come. We want people from greater Waterbury to come here. We want the state to be able to support us. When you do an artist like Tony Bennett, when you do a group like B.B. King or Irish Tenors as a group, statewide audiences will come here. They will come here often because they want to see that artist. They'll come to Waterbury for the first time in years, perhaps. And so it's a great opportunity for us to be able to show off a little bit. And
I think even once the word has spread throughout the state, we'll be getting people in from many different locations.
we do, I know, have an order for, I believe it is Tony Bennett, out of the Springfield area. So when you look at it, say,
So
okay,
it's a start.
Yeah, and people have said, oh, will they come? I think with the right programming, I think with this fantastic venue, they will come. And we have to show it off. We have to brag. We have something to be proud of in downtown Waterbury. And I will say something for quite some time. We've been talking about it for ages.
It's a reality.
Showtime
It's almost a reality.
Showtime's
yes.
November 12th, so that's what we're moving forward on. We're hoping that anybody and everybody comes join us, at least throughout the first season. Not everyone can come to Tony Bennett. We have 2,600 seats, but we want to have people come in to see the family shows. We want them to see our Broadway shows, our comedy series. They need to come in for free for a tour. The more times they can come in here, the more times they can celebrate this building, and they'll be more prone to coming back. That's what the plan is. That's what our goal is, and that's what we'll get it accomplished. I promise you that.
Frank, let me ask you, if there were patrons that were interested in holding a fundraiser, what could be done with that?
Actually, the lobby spaces that we had walked through, those are all available to be rented if there is no performance taking place in the building. So if the stage is empty, we would be happy to rent that space out to those organizations. We're trying to set up an affordable rental structure so that they can make money, but they can also help us pay for the lights and,
Yes.
and the staffing associated with it. And just as incidentally, we did have a fundraiser in here with the Mattatuck Museum.
Yes.
Over 200 people came in this building. They were all dressed up on a Wednesday night in downtown Waterbury. It was fantastic. The lights were on, the tables were set. There's individuals with cocktails and soft drinks, etc. It was pretty cool.
It's
I will tell you
opening the
that.
way for us to get dressed up again, isn't it?
Absolutely. We want to get you back downtown and dressed up to do so.
And now, what about the restaurants? Are there restaurants in the surrounding area?
There are restaurants in the surrounding area. We have a restaurant opening up right across the street with the Palace Supper Club, actually next door. Cafe Biagio is right up the road. Dior Dorios,
Right.
Drescher's, Circa Bistro. There's a host of restaurants. Our hope is to bring more people downtown. Our hope is to get them excited about coming to the theater and come a little bit early so that they can support the local restaurants.
Right.
And hopefully...
And even after the theater.
And after the theater for coffee and perhaps a cannoli or something nice
Right,
like that.
right.
But to get them to come, and then with that create enough demand where restaurateurs are going to say, you know what, I'm going to open up a restaurant downtown because there's enough people to support me. That's our plan. It's about economic development. It's about economic revitalization. It's about the Palace, but really about kind of reclaiming the downtown for Waterbury. That's what the charge is. That's what I'm going to, that's what I'll be graded on.
Moving
in the line.
forward,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Sounds great.
yeah.
It's very exciting.
Well, I hope that on November 12th, when we open up our doors, we have the house is filled, and I will assume that we will be at a capacity crowd. But I'm hoping that people from all over the Greater Waterbury area, as well as the state of Connecticut, come to help support us. They come out to experience great theater in a beautiful location. That's our plan. That's what we've been working so hard for. So it's right around the corner. It's less than 48 days away from opening. I still look like, I'm still sitting up, which is kind of nice. But we're right around the corner.
Been a lot of hard work.
Absolutely. But it's been a lot of fun work too. So we're hoping that everything we have planned, people appreciate, people can enjoy, and people keep on coming back. That's
Well,
the
we're
mission.
really looking forward to it. And we thank you so very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule
My pleasure.
to visit with us.
My pleasure.